That could be the difference in this fight, because Conor is not a big he's not a big middleweight, or it's 160 pounds and then a limit on you can go.
Barry McGuigan doesn't hold back in his criticism of Conor Benn's decision to fight at 160 pounds. He insists Benn isn't a natural middleweight and warns that pushing up to 170 would be a serious mistake. McGuigan argues Benn would be far better off competing at 155, where he's more comfortable and effective. In contrast, he has high praise for Chris Eubank Jr., highlighting Eubank's superior size and strength as key advantages that could prove decisive in their matchup.
I just think that was a mistake. He should have made him fight at 155 with a 10-pound slide, nothing more than that. However, Benn's dangerous early on, and if he gets through the first half dozen rounds...
Barry McGuigan is clear in his assessment of the Conor Benn versus Chris Eubank Jr. fight, stating that Benn's decision to compete at 160 pounds was a mistake, and that the bout should have taken place at 155 with a 10-pound rehydration limit. While McGuigan acknowledges Benn's explosiveness in the early rounds, and notes that if he can make it past the first half of the fight, he becomes a serious threat, he ultimately favors Eubank Jr. McGuigan believes Eubank's natural size and strength will give him the advantage, particularly in the later stages of the contest.
So I prepare hard. There ain't no tactics or antics I got to hide. I'm going to come in here and give it to him. That's it, really. I mean, you all know what you're getting.
Conor Benn is firm in his stance about his preparation for the fight, stressing that it's all about hard work and dedication. He's quick to dismiss any talk of tricks or gimmicks, making it clear that his sole focus is on giving everything. He's got to beat Chris Eubank Jr. Benn doesn't sugarcoat his approach. He says everyone knows exactly what to expect from him. For Benn, it's all about showing up ready, putting in the work, and leaving everything in the ring. His mindset is driven by pure effort and determination to get the job done.
Conor Benn, to be honest with you, I think it's a massive advantage that this fight is happening 2 years on, if I'm honest, on a number of reasons. Physically, the quality of the fighter, the mindset.
Eddie Hearn believes the timing of the fight now heavily favors Conor Benn, despite the challenges that have surrounded it. In Hearn's view, the 2-year delay since the initial hype has actually become a significant advantage for Benn. He cites several factors, including Benn's physical growth and increased maturity during that period. More importantly, Hearn emphasizes the evolution of Benn's mindset, noting that he's become a stronger, more complete fighter both mentally and physically. The extra time, he says, has allowed Benn to sharpen his skills and make the necessary adjustments, leaving him well-positioned for the rematch with Chris Eubank Jr.
It's like Eubank Benn 3, and that Conor's bringing that same energy. This is for my family, this is for my name, this is for my legacy, this is the opportunity. If I win this fight, I jump out of my dad's shadows, and I become the biggest star in Britain.
Eddie Hearn doesn't mince words when comparing the commitment levels of Chris Eubank Jr. and Conor Benn. He argues that Eubank simply hasn't prepared with the same intensity or focus as Benn. While Hearn acknowledges that Eubank is still capable of winning, he stresses that Benn's dedication and drive set him apart. He dismisses Eubank's talk of desire and commitment, insisting that Benn's focus and determination are on a completely different level, making him a far more dangerous opponent heading into the showdown.
It's kind of swung it back in his favour a little bit. I think that Chris Eubank is the favourite for the good reason that he's been fought at the higher level and he is naturally the bigger man. But that man Benn has got some ire and got some danger.
Dito backs Chris Eubank Jr. as the favourite, and it's easy to see why. Eubank has faced top-tier opposition and brings a clear size advantage into the ring. But Conor Benn is no underdog. His explosive power is a true game-changer, capable of turning the tide in an instant. When the bell rings on April 26th, expect Benn to come out with relentless aggression. This fight isn't just about size or experience. Eubank's strengths may not be enough to withstand the intensity Benn brings. The burning question remains, can Eubank absorb the onslaught, or will the younger, hungrier fighter overwhelm him? One thing's certain, this clash is set to ignite.
Very good fight. Conor has punching power chances. Chris is the bigger guy, so you give Chris the advantage going in because he's a bigger guy. But Conor does have exceptional punching power, so it's going to be a great fight. I think Chris should win the fight. I think Chris should outbox him, outsmart him, but he will have to be smart early because Conor.
Roy Jones Jr. isn't pulling any punches in his assessment of the upcoming fight, calling it a high-stakes chess match that could erupt into chaos at any moment. While he gives Chris Eubank Jr. the edge based on size and technical skill, Roy is quick to highlight the danger Conor Benn brings with his explosive power. Eubank may be the more polished fighter, but one early mistake could be all Benn needs to end the night. Jones warns that the opening rounds will be brutal, and a single slip could prove disastrous. He also pushes back against the idea that Eubank is untouchable. If Benn lands clean, the fight could flip in an instant. Roy leans toward Eubank to win, but only if he remains sharp and focused from the first bell. As the moment of truth nears, one thing is clear: if Eubank falters, Benn won't hesitate to capitalize, and it could be lights out. The stakes couldn't be higher.
Conor Benn punches harder than me at 154. He's had 2 fights at 154 and that's not a knockdown, never mind anything else. So, if Conor wants to betray that and draw confidence from that and sign upon to see in Chris's head, then so be it. But like I said, I'll stand on what I say. I've always been a better fighter than Conor Benn. I'm a better fighter than Conor Benn now.
Smith doesn't hold back, launching a scathing attack on the narrative that paints Conor Benn as a fearsome puncher. He openly mocks the hype, calling Benn's power nothing more than smoke and mirrors. Smith points out that Benn has only fought at a higher weight twice, and neither performance was particularly impressive. In contrast, Smith has shared the ring with elite-level opponents, proving his toughness and grit at the highest level. He questions the authenticity of Benn's confidence, suggesting it stems more from insecurity than true self-belief. Smith also casts doubt on Benn's resume, implying it's padded and lacks the substance needed to justify a spot among top-tier fighters. But Smith doesn't stop there. He asserts that he's always been the better man, with no hesitation. The big question now is whether Benn will crack under pressure when it matters most, or rise to the occasion and prove he truly belongs.
About power. It's not just about endurance. It really is the full spectrum. He's got to have strength, he's got to have power, he's got to have capacity and ability to work through those 30.
And Lawrence issues a strong and direct warning to Chris Eubank Jr., emphasizing that his upcoming fight with Conor Benn is about much more than just physical power or endurance. Eubank, he argues, will need a full and diverse skill set to survive the entire 36 minutes of the fight, especially in the critical championship rounds. This isn't going to be a one-sided affair where raw strength alone carries the day. Benn's relentless aggression and high pressure will demand that Eubank be at his absolute best, physically, mentally, and emotionally, throughout the entire contest. Lawrence highlights that Conor Benn is not only a strong and dangerous puncher, but also a fighter who thrives in high-pressure situations. Benn is known for his explosiveness, particularly in the early rounds, but as the fight moves into the championship stages, it will be about who can weather the storm and maintain control under the intense pressure. Eubank will be tested like never before, forced to dig deep into his mental reserves to stay sharp and composed when the fight reaches its most brutal moments. Eubank must show that he has the resilience and fortitude to absorb Benn's aggressive onslaught without losing focus. Lawrence is clear. It's not just about landing the perfect punches or outlasting Benn in the early rounds. It's about showing the heart and determination to stay in the fight when things get tough, when Benn is pushing him to the brink, and when fatigue and doubt start to set in. The key will be Eubank's ability to endure. That's what will separate him from Benn in the later rounds, his mental toughness and his refusal to crumble under pressure. The stakes of this fight could not be higher for both fighters. For Eubank, this is more than just a chance to secure a victory. It's an opportunity to prove he can handle the most intense challenges the sport has to offer. His true mettle will be tested under the brightest lights in the sport, and every moment of the fight will reveal whether he has what it takes to emerge victorious. Benn will not give him any room to breathe, and if Eubank slips even for a moment, Benn will take full advantage. The spotlight will shine brightly on both men, and only one will be able to handle the pressure and come out on top. The outcome of this fight will not only define their careers, but also serve as a testament to the kind of fighter each of them truly is. For Eubank, this is the ultimate test of his resolve and endurance, and the world will be watching closely to see if he has the strength to prevail.
Eubank says he'll retire if Ben beats him. Can you see where that thought process comes from? Obviously Conor stepping up 2 weights, the amount of bad blood there's been.
Yeah, maybe then you just don't know. Maybe where does he go from there if Conor beats him? I'm not trying to say Conor's any lesser, but yeah, Chris is obviously the guy who should beat him because he's a lot heavier, maybe more seasoned, but you know, it's definitely a 50-50 fight in my eyes. I think Conor's going to beat him. So yeah, you can see where that thought process comes from. But you know, who knows? I know Chris likes to play poker a lot, so maybe he comes back for the money or something.